I'll tell you when the recording is started. Right. So we're on, and the question asked us to allow a user to be presented with a menu that allows for the following task to be done. We want the user to enter two numbers and say which is larger. Okay, we want to ask the user to enter a string of text and a character that says how many times each character appears in the string, and not say, but returns. Right? We want to allow the user to enter two numbers and say which is larger, but you know, the saying which is larger is actually also the function takes two values and returns the larger. Okay. And the same thing down here, asks the user to enter two numbers into the program and prints out all the prime numbers between the two numbers. So the function accepts two numbers and prints out the prime numbers. So the function will print out the prime numbers in this instance. It's different from this one where the function returns one number. So this one is asking the function to return a number, and this one asking now for the function to print the numbers, right? And this one here, of course, is the function returns the number as well. So that should tell us a difference, something here. So if we have our include statement, stdio.h, we include stdlib.h, right? We have int mean, and we also have we can declare our functions up top. Let's think about the functions that we need. We need a menu function. Does the menu function accept any values? What is the purpose of the menu function? The menu function should just simply display something, right? I'm asking you that. This is a yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So the menu function, right, should just display. So the menu function neither accepts any values or returns any values. It just simply displays something. So we could say void menu, right? So a menu function, this is the menu function declaration. And let's think about the first one. If we say that this first function takes two values and returns the larger, then it takes two values and it returns one value. So if it returns one value, then the return type should be what?
It's integer.
Right, int. What would be a good name for this function? What would be a good name for this function? What does the function do? It takes two numbers and says which is larger. So what do we want to name the function?
So a larger number.
Right. Yeah, we can name it larger num. How come Hazard is the only one talking? What is this function? What is this function supposed to take in? Somebody else. Should I call somebody?
And the smaller number.
Sir.
No, what values or what data types is this function expected?
Int.
Right.
Int.
And how many ints?
2.
2. So we could say int, comma, int. All right. So that's our declaration for the larger number, right? Return larger number declaration. The third one, ask a user to enter a string of text and a character and returns how many times that character appears in the string. So what are we passing to the function? What would be a good name for this function? What would be a good name for this function?
Freq.
What?
FREQ.
Right. Okay, frequency. Yes. So we have FREQ, right? Or let's name it char freq, char frequency. And what does this function return? It returns an integer. But what does it take? It takes in a string, and it takes in a single character. Right? So character frequency declaration. And the last function, ask a user, to enter two numbers and prints out all the prime numbers between the two numbers. This function accepts two things but doesn't return anything. So if this function doesn't return anything, what's the return type? If this function void. Thank you. Yes. Right? Void. Even though we're being recorded here, if you're not sure about it, still say it like you're correct, and I will tell you that you're wrong. Sound confident about what you're saying, right? But void was correct. Right? And then everybody watching the video would be like, wait, she know what she is talking about, boy. And then they find out, nah, she didn't. But but in this case you did. Void was correct. Okay? So void, and then we want to say enter two numbers, and we want to print prime. So we can name it print prime. This will again take in an int and an int. Okay? So we have these, right? Declare print out prime number declaration. Okay. And what I like to do, so that you don't get this error, you see how I declare these functions here? What I like to do so that you don't get this error, right? In terms of well, it's not showing up now. But if you try to call any of these functions, you'll get a message saying that these functions weren't defined. So I like to create empty definitions at the bottom. So I do void menu, and I just do that. Int larger num. Oops, sorry. Int larger num, int a, comma, int b. I could always change these variable names later on if I want, right? But what I do is I create them empty so that I could just simply remember them, right? Int char freq, right? And what it expects? It expects a character array, right? Character array A, and then char B. And the last one, just gonna, for space sake, print prime, right? Void print prime int A, comma, int B. So you notice something too. I have the names A and B multiple times here. But these names A and B will not interfere with each other because they are local to their function. Okay? So this A is different from this A, which is different from this A.
Okay, all right. Well,
because this A only exists to print prime function here. But this A only exists to character frequency function. And I believe at the beginning of the next class, I will explain to you guys the difference in terms of variables from a local perspective and a global perspective. So remind me to do that next class, right? I have to talk to you all about local and global variables. Okay? But we moving on. So as it is right now, where's a good place to start is to print out the menu. Okay, and from the menu we could probably let all of the other options be selected. So my main can call my menu. My main can call my menu. And my menu can be something like this. Printf welcome to my function program. Okay, \n. We want to print out our menu options. So I give myself a couple printfs, right? And I could say press 1 to go to the larger number tester. Okay, and then I say press 2 to go to the character frequency counter.
You just made a few mistakes.
Press 3
now. So
to
player instead of plier here.
Go to the
Right? So
prime number
play and then at
printer.
end, remember that it is class, yeah, right? That it needs to
Press 4
You
to
said la campo
exit.
instead of il campo here, which is
Okay.
a mistake that
Press 4
happens
to
because
exit.
you said it had la here.
And what we would need here then is a variable
so that happens all the time,
int
but you're gonna have to kind of
selection, and we can take the user selection scanf, and we put percent sign d, and we store their selection. We have to put the ampersand here, and we put a get char here. And once we do the selection, then we can go into actually choosing to go to a specific function, right? And now it makes our code look nice and neat because I could do this. I could do switch, right? Switch selection.
And because this I makes an E sound,
Case
it is an
1,
yes, not and
break.
yes, right? It's an T yes.
Okay,
So
case
that
1,
makes like
I
E
could
sound,
call
right?
the
Other than
larger
that,
num function.
Remember that H is silent and apoyar. You're gonna have to remember
Right.
to pronounce this word
Case
all the
2,
way down to the end. And anytime you have a word like this that has the AR, ER, or IR,
I could call the
to pronounce that word right down to the end.
character
But if you don't,
frequency
then you won't
function.
hear the R at the end. So you have to make sure and pronounce all the apoyar, poder, celebrar, like you won't hear
And
if you
case
have to
3,
pronounce that word right down to that last letter. Okay? Other than that, your flow is pretty
break.
good. You are really
I can
much
call
slower than
the
we started
print
working
prime
before,
function.
right?
I'm
So
gonna
that's
have to do
good.
other things,
You
eh?
have to take a little breath every time you
Right?
start
Because
to
I need to pass
start
values to these
call.
functions, but I kind of
Okay,
mapping out my
And the only thing I
program.
want to work on again is that you
Keys
need to
4,
work on the Spanish accent doing, right? You have to, I'm gonna put up
break.
a couple videos.
And I could
on
just
the
simply
Google
even do
Classroom.
what I
You
need
get
to do
that.
here.
You have
Printf,
to mimic, like,
printf,
like what they say, but you need to remember that.
thanks for running my program.
The only way you're gonna get that is if you listen to them speak or
Goodbye.
listen to them sing. right? So you might have to practice that a little. Other than that,
Right, I could put a get char here. So
right? But that's really good. So next time around,
I
you'll
get
practice
char
it
here
again.
so that I could pause output and
All
then I
right,
could
thank you, darling.
exit
Uh-huh.
0 to leave the program.
Mhm.
And then I could put a default
Some
here,
people, it depends on how things going.
a
If a couple
default
people
here to
volunteer
catch
for
all
Tuesday,
wrong input.
And then when they
So
then you might be
default
up against
break,
next week Thursday. So that is
right?
what you just
You
keep on going. Everybody has to go all week
printf,
kind of thing, because I really want us to practice because we would be in school to practice, right?
you have entered
Yeah.
the wrong
Even if we go
selection.
next week, it'll be another one that is
Try
already up
again.
in the classroom. So if you want to prepare one, like practice one in advance, that is fine.
Okay.
But it'll always
And
come
so,
that I already have on Google.
as it is right now, this will be my
Right?
end switch.
Okay, great.
And this
Thank you,
here
darling.
would be my end menu.
Yeah.
Okay, end switch and end menu. And we know that larger num requires two numbers, so we could ask the user for two numbers for larger num. So we could say printf, please enter two numbers. Right? CPER is separated by commas. All right, separated by commas. Scanf, and let me declare my two numbers outside here, int n1, comma n2. Right, so please enter two numbers separated by commas. I have scanf %sign b, comma %sign b, comma ampersand n1, comma ampersand n2. Anybody is not with me so far? And I want to, of course, now, because larger num I'm supposed to take in two numbers. You see how that works? This little message here comes up saying that I need to pass two values of type integer to larger num. And that's what I'm doing with n1 and n2. Right? But larger num also is supposed to receive a value. So I could say L, capital L. L is equal larger num n1, n2. Printf and sign D is the larger number. Now I have my logic, or I have my sequence worked out here without actually even now doing the logic for that sequence. So you see how you could, if you know what you are doing, if you know what you're going to do, you could use functions to your advantage to kind of plan forward as you code, you know. Because what I'm doing here is that I'm kind of saying, okay, I know that I will do the code associated with this sometime soon. But it allows me to kind of now map out, even from writing my code. You all understand where I'm coming from?
Yes, sir.
So it's making sense to you? I could do. I'm going to do the same thing inside the switches first before I go to these here, right? And of course, I have no return statements in the functions that I have any return statements in, right? If I want to even tell myself, okay, for the ones that I have a return statement, just put return 0 as a placeholder for now, right? And you could say to do, right, to do this logic here. And it's a nice kind of way to keep yourself on track. Because if I see that I have a to-do here, right, this logic. If I have a to-do here, then what that means is that I know that I'm coming to do this just now. Right, the same thing inside of here, to-do. So I haven't done it, but I'm focused on kind of mapping out what's going on inside of here. So I could go forward now and go here and say, okay, printf, right? Printf Just letting you guys know that I might go 5-10 minutes over because we only have about 10 minutes to class. If you all would allow me so that we could finish this exercise here. Right? Printf, please enter a string of text. Enter a string of text, and you could put gets here. And of course, for this gets, we will have to have some string. So I'm going up here and I'm going to say char str 100. Right? So let me see 300. So I have a string of 300 and I have a character named ch. And I would put my get str inside here. And then I'd say down here, please enter a character. Please enter a character. And I have to use a scanf for my character with a %, C inside of there. So please enter my character, scanf %, C, ampersand ch. And of course I put a get char down here. And I need to put my semicolons in place. And now I know that my character frequency needs an integer. I could use the same L here because this L is not going to be used the same time as this L. So I could say L is equal to character frequency, and I pass str into here, and I pass ch into here. So the string that I entered inside of here is going to be passed here and stored inside of this variable here. Okay, whatever string I pass from here is going to be stored inside of here. And I will do my logic, and then it will return the number so that I could say, right, instead of having to write over stuff, we could just paste and edit, right? The value appears %d. Okay? So that makes sense, right? In terms of what we're asking to do so far. And then, of course, we have this last one. We'll ask a user to enter 2 numbers and print out all the prime numbers in between. That looks very similar to this. So we could just simply copy this section here to get 2 numbers, N1 and N2. We can paste it into there. And we know that print prime does not return a value because its return type is void. And that has to match with up here. You can't put void up here and then put int down there. You will get an error. All right? So we say please enter 2 numbers separated by commas, N1 and N2, print prime, and we pass N1 and N2 to print prime. And even though we have no logic inside of here, if I run this at this point, it should work. Okay, let me see. It's compiling. At least I think it's compiling. Happen here, way. Right, yeah. So that I could run it. But if I run this now, watch what happens here. If I enter 1, right, I can enter 5 and 6. And well, they say 6 is the larger number, but it said return 0. Here, larger number N1 and 2% D is that's just because I did not put L here. Right, and I didn't put a value L here as well. So it just kind of returned to me the last thing that was in memory. But it should have given me 0 because these functions are supposed to return 0. So it's not that it was working just now, right? It was just that my code was bad. All right, so if I press 1 right now and I have 5, 6, I get 0 is the larger number. Now I know that this is working. Now I know that this is working, but my function, my menu is not repeating. How could I get my menu to repeat? Anybody have any solutions?
A while loop.
Yeah, a while loop. That's very correct. I could put my menu inside of a while loop. And look at this. This is an example of using something that is broken to your advantage. I can make an infinite while loop and put my menu in because I know that my menu has an option to be able to exit from it. Okay, so if I go while 1, I just drop that inside there. The value of 1 doesn't change. So this is an infinite loop inside of here, right? If I press 4, however, it says thanks for running my program, goodbye, and my program exits. But once I enter anything else, 1, and I enter the 2 numbers separated by commas, it comes back to my menu, right? I could enter 7. It tells me I've entered a wrong selection, and then it prints out my menu. And if I put 2 \n there, I'll always be sure that my menu will of course come out on a new line. So 7, it tells me you entered a wrong selection. Try again. 3, right? If I entered 3, it tells me I entered a wrong selection with 3. So something is broken there as well. Okay. So for some reason, I have case 3. I didn't put a space between case and 3. All right. Okay, so I have this here. What I am going to do, actually, I'm not going to go on past here with it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you guys to actually do this for homework. Fill in this over the weekend. Okay, so for Monday, I'll put it up as an assignment. I'll put this up as an assignment, and what I would do is I would allow for you guys to actually do the code. You're only just changing what is inside of the functions. So you're going to work the larger number, or you're going to do the code to find the frequency of characters, or you're going to do the code to print out all the prime numbers inside of there. Okay? Everybody's
Yes,
fine
sir.
with
Yes,
that?
sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So I'll
Yes,
put
sir.
it up as an assignment, and I'll set it for you guys to do over the weekend. Do we have any questions? Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any concerns? Anything that they're wondering? Well, so how we reach here, and so how to get to here, and how to do this, and anybody have any issues or any
So
concerns?
I was going kind of good, and then I see you do the wild thing within the main, and I kind of get confused.
Okay, it's just an infinite loop. It's just an infinite loop. So what it is that the condition in the loop can't change. Remember, I want my loop to run forever because I have a means of getting out of the loop, and getting out of the loop is getting out of the program. And that's the only instance I want to get out of the program. So in this instance, I am fine with having an infinite loop, looping my menu, showing every time that I've gone through and I've shown the user some options. Once I've shown the user some options, and the user has done what they want to do, and the user done what they want to do, right? And this menu finish, what is going to happen is that we're going to go right back around and come into menu here. Okay? So as long as the only way that we could get out of the program is 0, otherwise it will either tell us that we have a wrong selection, or we have a wrong selection, or we do one of the options that the menu provides us with. Make sense, Ryan? Was it Ryan or David who spoke to me? Ryan, or was Ryan?
Yes, it was me. It was
Oh,
David.
it was David. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry about that. All right. So, Josiah, you have a question?
No, sir. I just had my mic on.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Well, that's
So
it.
I have a quick question. Actually, we could do it after you end the recording.
All right. Shit. I don't want to be on the recording. All right. Stop the